This is part two of our experience at the DC rally on December 6th. And in this section, we wanna try and talk about our experience at the end of the rally speech, Trump's rally speech, when he invited everyone to go to the Capitol, and the environment that was there and what we observed on our way. So, Christopher, if you want to start, what were your impressions?
Well, one thing I think we should say is that even though we didn't hear every word Trump was saying because we were kind of far back and it would come and go a little bit, and we actually did miss some of the previous speeches, but what he did say, we've all heard before, and we're not going to repeat it because YouTube will get rid of this or whatever, but we heard his normal stuff. And then at the end, he invited us to take a walk together to the Capitol and to encourage the weaker Congress members to have more strength and courage in what they were about to do. And then we all just sort of turned and started to walk. And I've heard from the news and from other people.
YMCA was playing.
Yeah, he was doing the dance. And I've heard from the news and even some friends that it was this fiery, speech
charged.
That was stoking up the anger and commanding the army or something, and that is absolutely false, 100% false.
I actually want to go back just a little bit into his speech, because while he was making his speech and everyone was lifting, and we were way out in the sea of people. And what we saw, and even the IMAG screen was so far away we could barely see it. I mean, this was a huge crowd of people. And what I remember being amazed is that they had this giant American flag that was being crowd surfed over this entire group of people,
cool.
Which was kind of cool to watch while President Trump was speaking. But there was something that you mentioned earlier, and you brought up the one crazy guy that we heard. And
he was.
So we were standing in the crowd listening to the speech, and then some idiot, and these, like I said before, these are idiot conventions. So some idiot starts screaming and trying to start a chant. He was trying to start a chant. Do you remember what he was trying to start?
Chants would start up here and there or everywhere.
And people would join in and chant. If someone started a chant, people would join in with the chant.
That's just how chants work.
This guy wanted to start a chant, and the chant he wanted to start was...
I have to remember?
Shut up and start shooting.
Yeah.
And he started chanting, shut up and start shooting, shut up and start shoot, which isn't even a good chant. Shut up and start, it's hard to say. Shut up and start shooting. And I'll tell you what happened.
He was right next to us. He was all by him, but he was alone. Nobody, not a single person.
No one was with him.
Joined him.
Yeah, the crowd around him instead.
We stared at him.
We stared at him with who are you and what are you doing? And within about 30 seconds, he got the message. He shut up. And he went away.
And he probably went looking for another crowd to do the same thing, and he failed time after time.
He failed everywhere.
And if
this chant never came up.
And if Trump and his crew were trying to fire up the crowd, they absolutely failed at it.
Yeah, Trump's really bad at being racist, and he's really bad at firing up a crowd into a frenzy of violence. He's not good at it. Okay?
Yeah.
What he is good is drawing people there, and he speaks off the cuff. No one disagrees with that. But what the response was that I was seeing was when he would say something off the cuff and kind of crazy sounding, people would laugh. Because that's the kind of thing you say in your head, but you don't say out here, and you laugh at yourself for saying it. That is the response that you got when he would say something like that. Is really the crowd was just kind of like they got it. They got it.
I think
everybody
knows.
That's an off the cuff statement. It was not an instruction. Is the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, right.
No one was instructed by the president to do anything violent,
and
no one acted that way.
We got his message precisely. We turned and we took a very peaceful walk. It was the most placid. There was singing.
So now we're walking to the Capitol. 300,000 people going in one direction down the street. And there was No pushing, no shoving.
I couldn't keep my heart from exploding. It was just so beautiful.
Now, we did take video ourselves, and I don't know if we're going to get into the production value of trying to embed video here, but this is where we might put in a clip. If we don't, hopefully those of you that are seeing this that have more experience doing these kinds of things will be making videos and showing the actual crowd, because you're not seeing any of this in any of the news. You're not seeing the rally. You're not seeing the crowd at the rally. You're not seeing the crowd marching to the Capitol. By the way,
you never see the diversity of the crowd. We saw
see the diversity. You every single news story says, "Oh, this is a mostly white supremacist." Okay, and it was not. It was not even close to being a mostly white crowd. It wasn't even a mostly young crowd. It was a mostly American crowd. This is what America looks like.
Yeah, one man he wasn't even starting a chant. He was just raising his hands up and saying, "Real America, everyone. This is real America." He's just loud as he could. He was just saying that. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
And then there's a street performer singing, Trump's favorite song, and it was just beautiful.
We heard some guy had done a rap, and you were like, "Oh, that's a good rap." He was playing his rap, and it was a rap about the
It was a civics lesson in a rap. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was also about that event. It
dude
was
with
talking
a little,
about
bucket drum, giving us a nice little cadence to march to.
It was the atmosphere you have at like a great summer concert series outdoor event. That was the vibe of it. Now,
and it's actually a longer walk than you expect or think.
It's a long walk.
It was 20 minutes that we were just walking with a huge sea of people.
Right now, I want to talk about though.
So if I was fired up, I would have been in a much more beautiful mood by the time I got to the Capitol, because of the crowd, just such a
right. But now I want to talk about what I noticed along the way that maybe no one else noticed. I noticed these things because of what I do, and I noticed that we were passing historic buildings with columns and stuff, and typically with a riled up crowd, you would put a barrier of police force. And in fact, you'll see in videos from rallies in the summertime that were done in DC, you'll see a line of police force blocking, buildings that are historical. And there was no blocking of these historical of buildings. But then I noticed that they had also blocked off roads to keep the crowd going down the one street, Pennsylvania Avenue, towards the Congress building, the Capitol. I'm sorry. To the side, they had a blocked off road. Now, what I saw was one dump truck parked in between the two lanes, like in the divider lane. And there was no stanchions, there was no barriers, no blockade, no officers standing there to make sure nobody went that direction. Just a single dump truck sitting there. And I commented to my brother, "Where's the police? There should be like a line of police there." And you said,
"Well, they're over there."
And he said, "Oh, there's police." And I looked, and not next to the dump truck, but down the street on the next corner, there was a single police car, and I think I saw a police officer standing next to the car. One single police officer standing next to the police car. But it was so far away, I'm not even sure if it was the police officer that I was seeing or not. But it was just that,
That's all. But
nothing to control the crowd.
But this was an angry mob. And
yeah, this angry, out of control mob.
And there was definitely anger in our hearts, because we walked by the DOJ building, we were shouting, "Do your job." That kind of anger comes out. You express it.
Would you say it was an angry? Because I didn't feel that it was an angry chant.
No, I'm being sarcastic about anger.
I honestly felt like it was more of a sarcastic, like more of a satire.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are clearly not doing your jobs.
Do your job.
And that's the kind of thing that you do chant. I mean, definitely nobody there was happy about what's going on with our country.
Right.
Okay, but it was an atmosphere of hope not an atmosphere of violence. Now, I want to say this, though. The thing that I'm talking about, the line of police in front of the buildings and the missing police at the barricade, which was no barricade, it was just a single dump truck, did not happen. It did not exist. It wasn't there. And
so no police protection, no police support at the rally or the march.
Yeah, 300,000 people completely unmonitored and no crowd control. Okay, forget riot police. Okay, now the reason why I'm bringing this up now is because when I got home after hearing some of the things that were going on after a long drive home, I instantly went to find out, if anyone was talking about the fact that there was no police presence, and I found it, and it was not from conservative media, it was not from mainstream media, it was from way out on the left side, radical activists, liberals, complaining about the racism of the United States. And there was articles where they literally showed photographs comparing BLM protest rallies to this rally. And they were showing, look at all the police that were there because they're racist against blacks. But look at this white supremacist rally. There's no police presence at all. Now, they were trying to make their point, which I believe is like wacky, but they actually provide the evidence that is what I'm talking about.
And they were focus group testing Kamala's statement, and Kamala confirms.
Well, you're getting ahead of us.
Yes,
now.
we are, but
you're getting way ahead of us.
Yes. Okay.
But yeah, they have their narrative, and since you brought it up, the best thing to do is to be the one who gives the narrative first. And the Democrats are really good at being the first ones to give the narrative. And we're going to talk about that in another episode too. But I want to point out that what we're saying here is already confirmed. Okay? And I'm asking you to go look at your videos for police presence. But it's already confirmed in reports written by radical left-wing activists. They're saying that this is proof of systemic racism in the country. I'm saying that I don't believe the mayor of DC is a white supremacist.
Not that I've heard, no.
Yeah, as far as I know, she's not, and she's the one who would have been in charge of making sure that there was police presence. And I'm not talking about the Capitol yet. We haven't got there yet.
Is that the next video of the Capitol?
I think we're talking about the Capitol next.
Okay.
But in this video, we're talking about the march from the rally at the memorial, the Washington Memorial, to the Capitol. And at the rally and during the march, there was absolutely no DC Metro Police presence, no medical emergency medical teams, and no barriers, no National Guards, nothing to stop chaos and violence from growing, nothing to deter it.
As if it was welcomed.
It was not only welcomed, it was expected, it was needed.
And we disappointed them.
All right, so we're going to move on to part 3.